اقرأ ما يلي, read what follows. ثم اكتبه مع كتابة الأرقام الواردة فيه بالحروف. So you have to read the sentences and then write out the sentences with writing out the numbers in words, not the numerals there, as we have in the sentence here, okay? So let's look at it. واحد. كم سنك؟ سني 19 سنة. Okay? Remember, the ma'dud, the thing which is counted is what here in the sentence? Anybody? What is the thing that is counted here? Sinnatan. Now, right? So the sinnatan, or this means year, right? So the thing that we are counting is sinnatun or sinnatan, which is years. Well, in English we would say years with plural, but here in this particular case, remember we said once it's after 10, we use the singular of the word, all right? So it is feminine. We see the tarmabuta there, so we know it's a feminine word. So if the ma'dud is feminine, the numbers from 11 to 20, well, 11 to 19, they have certain rules. Remember we said 11 and 12, they agree in gender with the ma'dud, both parts of 11 and 12, right? But 13 to 19, the first part of the, remember it's a composite word, so um, in Arabic we say murakkab. So the first part is opposite gender to the counted thing, and the second part is the same gender as the counted thing, right? So in this case, the counted thing or the ma'dud, it is feminine. Therefore, the first part of the word, number, will be masculine, right? And the second part will be feminine. So we have tis'a, muta mamuta, ta sin ain, right? Then the second part is ashrata sanatan. If you want to see how to write it, just look on the same page, just at the top first line on the page. Right? You see there in the table above? Tis'a ashrata talibatan, right? Above there. So in this case, you're using the same exact number here and how it's written, right? Tis'a ashrata. In this case, it is sanatan. Mafhum? Everybody understand that, right? Next one, Ithnain. Anybody want to volunteer to do this one? قرأنا عشرة. You always have fatha, fatha. All of these, they carry fatha. The first part carry fatha in the last letter, and the second part carry fatha in the last letter, right? So it's arba'a ashrata, right? Go ahead. Now, قرأنا, we read, أربعة عشرة صفحة من هذا الكتاب. Right? We read, past tense, we read 14 pages from this book. Okay? Does everybody understand that word qara'na? Anybody don't understand it? Remember, when you conjugate the verb, you have ذهب, then you conjugate it to you, anta ذهبت, right? Anti ذهبتي. Nahnu, we, nahnu ذهبنا, with a alif at the end. Okay, so this is we. So when you say qara'a, qara'na, we read, right? If we were supposed to say you read, we would say qara'ta. You feminine, you masculine, right? If it's you feminine, you say qara'ti. If you want to say I read, you say qara'tu. I read. All right? So here's qara'na arba'a ashrata. Remember the sukun and the sheen. So you have to say ashrata. Anytime you put that tam marbuta on the word ashara, the sheen takes the sukun. Once you take off the tam marbuta, you put back the fatha on the sheen. So without the tam marbuta, you will say ashara. With the tam marbuta, you will say ashrata. Right? Good. Next one, thalatha. Any volunteers? Thalatha. Right. في هذه الحافلة.
في هذه الحافلة ثماني عشرة.
All right. Here you have to look at the thing which is counted. Okay. We have two sets of numbers here with two different genders. The first one is masculine. The second one is feminine. All right.
تقريبا هو خمسة عشرة طالبا. خمسة عشرة رقيبة.
All right. So the first one. The first one is you always have to look at the ma'dud. Remember in Arabic, you always have to look ahead. Always. If you see a sentence, at the end of the sentence, they say Ya Muhammad or Ya Zaid or whatever it is, right? So then you know you're speaking to a masculine person, then you know what vowel to use. The beginning of the sentence. So you always have to look ahead. Right? So here we look ahead and we see the thing which is counted, it is the first one is masculine. So everything which is counted is masculine. Remember the numbers from 11, from 13 to 19. The first part is opposite the gender of the thing which is counted. And the second part agrees in the gender which the thing which is counted. So here everything which is counted is raqiban. The raqib is the passenger. Okay? Right? You all see now there? The thing which is counted is raqiban. This is masculine. So if it's masculine, when we are saying this number 18, right? The first part will be masculine. Sorry, the first part will be feminine, and the second part will be masculine to agree with the ma'dud. Okay, so we can't use these numbers here on the table above for this particular part of the sentence. All right, so we have to use what we learned in chapter 2 of Leviticus. So we would here you would say thamaniyata with a ta marbuta on the thamaniya. Okay, so thamaniyata ashara. Ashara will be masculine, no ta marbuta on the ashara. Okay, so thamaniyata ashara raqiban. And the next part of the sentence, وَخَلْفَهُمْ, and behind them, خَمْسَ عَشْرَةَ رَاكِبَةً. So we use the one we see right above here in the table, right? خَمْسَ عَشْرَةَ رَاكِبَةً. It's feminine, so we say the adita mubuta. All right? Everybody okay with that? All right, so the next one, أربعة. Everybody? Yes, Imam. You want to try?
Um,
Or somebody else going? Who is this going?
somebody go ahead.
I don't know. Who is this? Imam? Go ahead, Imam.
هذا فندق صغير فيه 12 غرفة غرفة فقط.
نعم. أحسنت. So هذا فندق فندق صغير. This is a small hotel. Okay. فيه in it. If you look on top here, you see إثنتا عشرة. Right. So we're dealing with again. Always look to what we are counting. In this case, we're counting the ghurfa. So the ghurfa is feminine. There's a term of buta there. Everybody seen that?
نعم.
So we go back to the remember 11 and 12. Both parts of the number has to agree with the thing which is counted. First part and the second part. These are just for numbers 11 and 12. Okay. So here we say إثنتا عشرة غرفة. Right? إثنتا عشرة غرفة فقط. فقط means what? Only. Only. Right? So there are only 12 rooms in this hotel. Right? Next one. رقم 5. عثمان له أحد عشر. Alright, let me try this one. عثمان له أحد عشر ابنا واثنتا عشرة بنتا. Okay, so the first part has to be masculine, second part feminine. Okay, you're okay with that?
Mm.
Now, next one. Who want to try next one? Number 6. رقم 6.
أنا حفظت 13 أنا حفظت 13 سورة.
Now, so here you put a sukun on the law. So we say hafil two, right? So whenever we have that, in most cases when we have the pronoun added at the end of the verb like this, ita, then the last letter in the original 3 letters will take the sukun, right? So you say hafiltu, hafilta, hafilti, hafilna, and so on, right? So we say ana hafiltu nam ثلاثة عشرة سورة. نعم. أحسنت. Next. 7. You have to try it again. Sumaya.
هذا مستشفى 19 طبيبة و
عشر.
17 طبيبة. نعم. أحسنت. So again, practice. We have first part is masculine. Ma'dud is masculine. Second part, the ma'dud is feminine. Okay. So this is a good workout here in knowing which part, how to structure the number. Okay, so remember, once you know it is a masculine ma'dud, thing which is counted, you automatically know between 11 and 19, first part will be opposite gender. Okay, the second part will agree. So if the first case is masculine ma'dud, tabiban, tabiban, doctors, right? Masculine. So the first part of the number will be opposite gender, will be feminine, right? So you say تسعة تسعة مربوطة at the end with a fatha on it, all right? And then the ashara now will be masculine with no tarmabuta. So if it's no tarmabuta, then you put the fatha on the sheen in the middle. Remember that? So you say ashara. So تسعة عشرة طبيبا. نعم. Next part was سبعة عشرة طبيبة. So here now the ma'dud is feminine. طبيبة, female doctors. Okay. So therefore, the first part of the number itself, the adad, first part will be masculine, opposite gender, right? So it will be سبعة, no tarmabuta there, just seen. Ba, ain, سبعة عشرة. Sukun on the sheen and the tarmabuta at the end of the ashrata, with of course a fatha on it, right? So سبعة عشرة طبيبة. نعم. رقم
ثمانية.
8. نعم. من الذي يحاول who will try this one?
قرأنا اليوم 18 كلمة جديدة.
نعم. قرأنا, we read. اليوم, we read today. Right, so again we look at the معدود, it is feminine here. كلمة. Okay, so therefore the adad, the number, first part will be masculine. So we say ثماني, right, no tarmabuta there. ثماني عشرة, with the tarmabuta عشرة. So ثماني عشرة كلمة جديدة. Right? So we read today 18
New words.
new words. All right. Next one. Let's just go through this. If anybody want to try the next one,
Okay, I'll try.
all right, Mickey.
هذا القلم بأربع عشرة روبية.
Now, good. So هذا القلم, this pen, أربعة عشرة روبية. Right. So this pen is 14 rupees. Good. Next one. في هذه العمارة في هذه العمارة 19 شقة. In this building there are 16 ستة عشرة شقة. In this room there are 16 apartments. All right. Last one. في هذا الفصل 20 طالبة. Right. So in this class there are 20 students. Now, so this is the adad and ma'dud. Inshallah, you get practice as you go along. In fact, you gain practice right now. This is number 13. اكتب الأعداد من 11 إلى 20 واجعل كلا من الكلمات الآتية تمييزا لها. Right. So they say write numbers from 11 to 20, making all of the following words the ma'dud, or the thing which is counted. Here they use the tamiz. Tamiz is the grammatical um, part of speech that will classify the uh, ma'dud, right, in the sentence. So here we have some words here. kitab, طالبة, right, so kitabun, طالبة, دقيقة, يوم, سيارة, رجل, سنة, قرية, and طالبة, and طالب. Right, so the first one is book, طالبة is female student, دقيقة is minute, يوم is day, سيارة is car, رجل man, سنة year, قرية is village, and طالب is a male student. All right, so again, homework, you're writing out all the numbers from 11 to 20, and you're making these, each of these words, the ma'dud, the thing which is counted. Now remember again, as I said quite earlier in the class today, as well as many times before, once we go past 10, from 11 onwards, the, the ma'dud is always singular. Right? Ma'dud is singular. So all of these words, once we count in them from 11 to 20, you would use the singular form of these words, right? So it will be kitaban, talibatan, daqiqatan, yawman, and so on, all right? And just put in front of them these numbers from 11 to 20. Good. So that's the homework, inshallah ta'ala. More practicing adad and ma'dud, right? Next one, number 14, رقم 14.
Afwan ya akhi. What page we on?
We on page, we now start on page 44.
44. Shukran.
Arba wa arbaun. If you see, you will see it on the screen here, inshallah. Right? 44. See, you seeing it?
44.
Watch the screen. I'll share the screen so you will see it highlighted on the screen there.
45. Right. I have it here. 44.
Right, so we are at the top of page 44 now.
Nice. Shukran.
Right, no problem. اقرأ المثال ثم املأ الفراغ فيما يلي على غراره. So we have to read the examples and then you have to fill out the spaces, right? Fill the spaces. So let's look at the examples. Now this has to do with adjectives, right? Male and female, the adjectives and how they are constructed. So let's look at it here. Hamidun Jawanu. Hamidun Jawanu. Everybody with me on page 44? Now, Hamidun Jawanu. Hamid is hungry. Remember the word Jawan? Jawanu means hungry. Okay? So Hamidun Jawanun. Jawanu, sorry. So this is Hamid is hungry. Right? Now look at how it changes here now. We're looking at the example below. Maryamu Jawa. See how it changes? So masculine is Jawanu, feminine is Jawa. There's no noon at the end there. Okay? There's no noon. However, when you go to the plural, there's no difference in masculine and feminine when you look at the plural form of this, the adjective. Okay, so just as we have with some of the other adjectives we saw before, once you go with the plural, it's the same. All right, so look at this here. At-tullabu, at-tullabu jiya'un. At-tullabu jiya'un. Means the students, the male students are hungry, plural, right? So they are hungry. At-tullabu jiya'un. The male students are hungry. Let's look at the other example below. At-talibatu jiya'un. The female students are hungry. You all seen that? There's a difference with the male and female when you're talking about singular. Once you go plural, then we have is the same word we use for both male and female plural, right? So now we have to apply the same thing with the others here, all right? So for example, we have Khalidun Atashanu. Khalidun Atashanu. Khalid is thirsty, right? Atshan, it means thirsty, okay? So Khalid is thirsty. If we use the singular feminine, we will say what? For example, Khadijatu Atasha. No noon there, right? But we have the alif on the, well, we have the alif maksura with the small alif above. So we have two beats, right? Khadijatu Atasha, right? If you look at the plural, you would say At-Tullabu. It would be Itashun, 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 right? And it will be the same for masculine and feminine, right? Are you all following that?
These Ustad, these vowel, these jump, the jump for these word or the feminine and so on. And we have to be learn the word, the vocab. Or is there a particular formula for constructing? Like for example, we drop the alif and noon and add the maksura for the feminine.
Yeah. Oh, these are for this form of the adjectives, right? So you see all of them basically the same form, right? You have other adjectives with different patterns. So this pattern, all of them will be the same pattern if you look at it, right? You have Jaw'anu, Atashanu, Shab'anu, right? Ghadbanu, Kaslanu. All of them is the same pattern, right? All of these adjectives are the same pattern. So it will be the same thing that will be applied for the feminine form as well as for the plural, right? Is that clear? Or?
So you just drop the alif and noon and add the maksura for the feminine.
Right.
And then with the jam for the jam, it just
Sukun, the first letter, Fatha, the second letter,
alif and
Aleph,
some tiny
and then the tanween on the third letter, right? The noon, Aleph, well, the Aleph and noon drop out, right? Any question? That clear with everybody?
Fine.
Right. Right, so the next one is right. So the pattern, as the Imam was saying, right? So the pattern is all of them is the same pattern. All of these you're doing here is the same pattern, right? The first one, the Jawan, might be a little bit confusing because in the original word you have the wow, whereas in the plural you have a ya, right? And that is because the wow and the ya, they are weak letters, and it has to do with what is the original letter in the root word, right? So you would find, and you would see this going forward, that when you change patterns and you change like conjugate words and so on, sometimes the wow and ya, in some cases like this, can be interchanged depending on the situation, all right? And it's not random, is a particular rule for that, but we will do that later on when you do dealing with weak verbs and weak nouns and so nouns with weak letters in it and so on, right? Inshallah. Um, the only exception to the plural here will be the word kaslan, and you will see the plural here is doesn't follow the pattern as the others. It is kusala. Of course, both masculine plural and feminine plural is the same thing. All right, so the plural here is different to the other patterns, right? Right, so let's go through it again. Hamidun, Jawanu,
حامد جوعان
Maryamu, Jawa,
مريم جوعان
Tullabu, Jiya'un,
طلاب جياع
At-talibatu, Jiya'un.
طلاب جياع
Right? Just give me 1 second there, just checking something on my computer here. Tullabu, Jiya'un, At-talibatu, Jiya'u. Right? Next one, we have Khalidun, Atshanu, Khalidun, Atshanu. Then you have Khadijatu, Atsha. Khadijatu, Atsha. Right? Plural, you can say At-tullabu, Itashun, At-talibatu, Itashun. Right? Ain, Kasra, Ta, Fatha, with an Aleph after it, Ita, right? And then the Shin at the end of the word with a tanween Dhamma, right? Itashan. Right. Next one, we have Ibrahimu, Shab'anu, Ibrahimu, Shab'anu, and female we could say Maryamu, Shab'a, right? Alif Maksura with a small alif above it, right? Maryamu, Shab'a, right? And plural, you use the same at-tulab and at-talibat. At-tulabu, shiba'un, shiba'un. You all understand that, right? You see the pattern? Shin, first letter take the kasra, then the second letter take the fatha, which is the ba in this case, and then you have the alif after it, right? Shiba, and then the last letter, which is the third one, in this case is the ain, will take the tanween dhamma. Shiba'un, shiba'un. At-talibatu, shiba'un. Same thing, right? Masculine, feminine, plural is the same thing. The next one, Al-mudarrisu ghadbanu. Al-mudarrisu ghadbanu. Naam, somebody say something?
شبعاء is Mamana.
Shab'an is Aqsu Jaw'an. Yeah.
Okay.
Uh, so Jaw'an is hungry, Shab'an is full, right? Al Al-mudarrisu ghadbanu. Al-mudarrisu ghadbanu. The mudarris or the teacher is angry, right? Al-mudarrisu ghadbanu. Al-mudarrisatu ghadba. Al-mudarrisatu with the term of at the end, feminine. You will say غدا, right? And then plural, you will say al-mudarrisuna غضاب, غضاب, غين كسرة, غي ضاد فتح ضا with the alif, ضا غضا, and then the last letter will be the third, which in this case is the ba. So you put the ba tanwin dhamma. So it's غضاب, غضاب. المدرسون غضاب. المدرسات غضاب. Same thing, right? So plural, masculine, feminine, same thing. Last one here, Yusufu. Yusufu kaslanu. Yusufu kaslanu. Yusuf is lazy, right? So feminine, you would say um, Mariamu kasla. Mariamu kasla. Mariam is lazy. All right. And of course, plural, at-tullabu kusala, or if it's feminine, at-talibatu kusala. Right. So this is the only one where the plural is a different pattern to this pattern. Right. Takes the dhamma on the first letter. Right. And then you have the fatha on the second letter. And it still have the alif maksura as in the feminine version here, right? So little difference to the other plurals. So these are things which we have to learn, right? It's just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 adjectives. Easy to learn. All of them is the same pattern, right? And the same feminine pattern. Once we know the word, we know how to apply the pattern. We could derive from it the feminine version and the plural. Okay? Going on again. Number رقم 15. 15. تأمل ما يلي. Observe or look at what follows. All right, so we have here the word lima, lam, kasra, mim, fatha. Lima is equal to limada. We all know what is limada. Right? Limada means why. Right? Limada taf'alu هذا. Why did you do this? لماذا أكلت التفاح? Why did you eat the apple? لماذا, right? So instead of you saying the whole thing, you could say lima, short, all right? So we see some examples below here, right? لما خرجت من الفصل? Why did you leave the classroom? Why did you leave the classroom, right? So person whoever the teacher asked that he didn't answer in time, he probably shocked the teacher find him, catch him, right? So he didn't say anything, so the teacher asked a follow-up question. أخرجت من الفصل? Did you leave from the classroom? So student probably denying it, so the teacher said, did you really leave? Did you leave the classroom? أخرجت من الفصل? Did you leave the classroom? So the student finally replied and said, Na'am, yes, he did leave. Teacher asked him, Lima, Lima. So here we see the question asked, when we have Lima by itself, you add the Ha at the end, right? The Ha with the sukun on it. Otherwise, if there's a sentence after it, you don't put the Ha, as we see above, right? Lima kharajta min al-fasli. Why did you leave the classroom? If you're just asking why, you say Lima, Lima, right? Another example, Lima ضربت هذا الولد? Why did you beat or hit this boy? لما ضربت هذا الولد? Or we can ask, أضربت هذا الولد? Did you hit this boy? The boy, the next student replied, نعم, نعم. Teacher asked him, لما? Why? لما? If you're using lima alone in a sentence, we use the ha with the sukun at the end. All right, so there's just a pointer note. Right, lima is equal to limada. If you're using it in a sentence, we use lima by itself. If you're using lima by itself in a sentence, then we add the ha at the end. Right. Now we can say limada. We can also say that if we say limada, we don't add any ha. We just say limada as it is, right? But if we use any shortened version like lima, we add the ha at the end, as we see here. All right, good. Next page, رقم 16. 16. اكتب الأسماء الآتية مجرورة ومنصوبة. Right, so you have to write the following words in the genitive form and the accusative form. Right, so good. We're getting some practice in changing the forms or the cases of different words. Let's look at the examples here. So we're on the top of page 45 now. Hope everybody is on the same page. Top of page 45. We have some words here. They give us all the words in the case of jar, of rafa. Right, so all of the words with the tanween number behind, they are called marfu, meaning they are in state of rafa. All right, they are marfu. So we want to get the majrur, that is when it is in the case of jar, and we also want to get the mansub when it is in the case of nasb. All right, good. So let's look at the first word. So you have the headings here. Al-majrur, al-marfu', al-marfu'. Next is the al-majrur. Then we have the al-mansub. You've seen that? There's one half of the table, then the next half again, al-marfu', al-majrur, and al-mansub. Alright, good. So let's look at the first example. Kitabun. Kitabun, when we change it to majrur, we get kitabin. Tanween, kasra. You see that? Next, mansub, you get kitaban. Kitaban. Please note, once we have the tanween factor, in all words in the Arabic language, once it ends with a tanween factor, we put that alif with it. That comes with the tanween factor. It comes with the territory as it says. So once you have the tanween factor, you put the alif. Bam, automatic. Except which word? Except the word that has tar marbuta, as we see right here. Okay? Sayyaratun. This is the marfu'. Right, nominative case. Majrur case now, genitive case is sayyaratin. And then the mansub or the accusative case, you have sayyaratan. Sayyaratan. Right? So you'll see here tanween fatha, but no alif added. Because what? Because why? The tanween, the tar marbuta at the end. All right? Let's go again. Hamidun. So you have somebody's name here, Hamidun. All right. So that change to majrur case, it will be what? Huh? Hamidin. And mansub?
Hamidan.
Hamidan. Good. Going across the table now. Sa'atun. Majrur will be
Sa'atin.
sa'atin. Mansub? Sa'atan. Khalidun. Majrur will be Khalidin. Mansub will be Khalidan. Good. Right. Mikwatun. What's a mikwa?
Ita.
What's a mikwa? Huh?
Ita.
A what?
Ita.
Hita, yeah. The hita, the iron is iron closet, right? So
Yeah.
that is mikwa. Remember the mother in the passage? Ghasaltuha wa kawaituha. I wash them and I iron them. So kawaituha, I iron them. Right? So from the that word you get mikwa. Mikwa is the iron or the heater where you iron close it, right? Alright, so mikwatun is a marfu'. Majrur will be
Watin.
kwatin and mansub
Watan.
kwatan. Now, baitun. Next line, baitun. It will be majrur will be
Baitin.
baitin and mansub baitan. Now, saburatun will be what? Saburatun is marfu'. Majrur will be
Saburatin.
saburatin and mansub
Saburatan.
saburatan. Now, rajulun majrur
Rajulin.
will be rajulin mansub
Rajulan.
rajulan. Now, mudarrisatun female teacher. Mudarrisatun will be what?
Darisatin.
Mudarrisatin all right, mudarrisatan. All right. Now, ahsantum. Right. Question. So we have two names here, Hamidun and Khalidun. What about if we have the name Ibrahim? And we'll just try a curveball in this thing. If you had the name Ibrahim, how would we say the marfu', majrur, and mansub cases for the word Ibrahim?
The word Ibrahim in Guide 1 Saraswati will be Ibrahima. Ibrahima.
Now, and no tanween at all. So it can't be Ibrahimun. It will be Ibrahimu for marfu', single dhamma. Then what? Ibrahim ma with a fatha. Even though it's majrur, takes a fatha. Right? Why? Because it's mamnur min asarf. Mamnur min asarf. These words, remember these words, they have special ways of handling the different cases, right? And then mansub will be Ibrahima, single fatha. All the words that are mamnur min asarf, they don't ever take kasra and they don't ever take tanween. Remember that, right? No min asarf. We did that in book 1, towards the end of book 1. Right? We'll revise that soon, inshallah.
Zainabu. Zainaba. Zainaba.
Right, female proper nouns here. Right? Now, next lesson. Ta'ammil ma yali, observe what follows. Hati ya Ahmadu. Hati ya Ahmadu. Hatu ya Ikhwanu. Hati ya Su'adu. Hatina ya Akhawatu. So this word here, hat, it is a command, right? And it's a special noun that we have the command, we more use the command form of this as opposed to the other forms of this particular verb, right? It's a command form of the verb and it's a special verb that we use the command for more than the other forms, right? In the Quran, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, Hatu burhanakum in kuntum sadiqin, right? So here we see if it is we are addressing masculine singular, masculine plural, feminine singular, feminine plural, right? So if it's masculine singular, we will say Hati ya Ahmadu. Hati with a kasra, right? Ya Ahmadu. Plural, you say Hatu ya Ikhwanu. Hatu ya Ikhwanu. If it's feminine singular, you say Hati with a ya after the ta. You'll see now there? Hati ya Su'adu. And Hatina ya Akhawatu. Or sisters, right? So it basically means bring or produce. So when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, Hatu burhanakum, produce your evidence, right? Or your irrefutable evidence, right? Burhan is not just dalil. Dalil is evidence, but burhan is irrefutable evidence. Evidence that cannot be refuted at all, right? There's no question in that evidence. It is watertight evidence, as they say. Right, the last exercise in this whole chapter is اكتب الآيات الخمسة Al-Ula in Surah Al-Rahman. Right? Wa Surah Al-Hadid, wa Surah Al-Naba. So write the first 5 ayahs of these 3 surahs. So inshallah, you try to do that as homework. Write the first 5 ayahs of Surah Rahman, Surah Hadid. Surah Rahman is chapter number 55. Surah Hadid is chapter number 57. And Surah An-Naba, which is chapter number 78. Alright, so you try and do these inshallah as homework. This is the end of the lesson here. Next week, inshallah, we'll do an overall recap. Alright, you have the Kalimat al-Jadida here. If you all want to look at it quickly, just 3 lines. Right? Al-Mujallatun is a magazine, plural is Mujallatun. Rakibun is a passenger, plural is Rukkabun. Shaqqatun is an apartment, plural is Shiqaqun. Imaratun is a building, like an apartment building, and plural is Amairun. Right? So this is the plural of Imaratun. Sinnun is the year, and jam is, sorry, this is teeth. This is teeth. Sinnun is teeth. Plural of it is asnanun, right? Kalimatun, word, plural is kalimatun. Suratun is surah, plural of that is suwarun, suwarun. Right? Ja'a is to come or arrive, and kawa is the iron, or to, iron the clothes. All right, so that's the end of this chapter, inshallah. Close off here. Any quick questions or announcements?